Everyone knows PayPal is a checkout button for online payments, but now you can use your PayPal debit card online and tap to pay in-store. The PayPal debit card is your ultimate pal in paying smart, everywhere. And now it earns you 5% cash back on a monthly category of your choosing. Restaurants, apparel, groceries, health and beauty, and gas on up to $1,000 of monthly purchases. So let's do this after the podcast. Start earning 5% cash back with the PayPal debit card today. Don't just pay, PayPal. Terms apply. See PayPal app. This card is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A., pursuant to license by MasterCard International, Inc.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Hi there, it's Carly here. Hope you enjoy this preview of our latest episode of Surviving Reality, recapping Season 7 of Love is Blind. Be sure to head over and subscribe to Surviving Reality to listen to the rest of the episode, our recaps of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and more bonus content. Enjoy!
Surviving Reality contains explicit content full of snark and sarcasm that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Reality.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly. And today we are here recapping the entire Season 7 of Love is Blind in Washington, D.C. Was that too formal? Did we just say just D.C.?
I think, Washington, D.C., you're putting the respect on it here. More respect than this season deserves, I think. More respect than most of the couples gave each other throughout this entire process.
That seems to be the consensus that the audience has reached about this season, which is interesting to me. We have not watched every season of Love is Blind. I didn't feel like it was that bad.
I usually don't get into it, and then most of the time the pods, it's too much. And I know there's some people who just watch the pods, or people just wait until they get out of the pods and then watch that stuff. So there's different approaches maybe to take on it. I'm glad we did not recap episode by episode. I think I would have lost my mind. It was very reminiscent of our Married at First Sight season that we recapped. I think that was season 11 in New Orleans.
Where it's like 35 episodes long.
Well, that was, yeah, and they're 2 hours each. So it felt like the same amount of airtime, and we got the same amount of information in the end.
I would love to know what people dislike so much about it. Is it just that the cast of characters was greatly flawed?
I think it was probably the cast wasn't that great. And then also you only had, spoiler alert, 2 relationships make it out of this.
Okay, though, I have to admit, I'm not here to watch people fall in love. I am here for the juicy stuff that happened on TikTok.
So, well, then this is the crime that you didn't invite Leo and Brittany.
We will talk about that because they did come to the reunion.
I mean, let's talk about it. Yeah,
all right.
We've got.
You want to get into it? We start with them.
It's happening. Yeah, because I think this is the jumping off point that's going to get things started.
So Leo and Brittany. Leo, the
Rolex wearing,
very wealthy art dealer. I think that's the only intro that he would want us to give about himself.
I feel like, yeah, he's the art dealer that they did that Netflix documentary about, where it was the lady who was selling the fakes because she was just authenticating everything. Was that his mom? Did we confirm?
It was also on Netflix, wasn't it?
Yeah. Thank you, Netflix.
Maybe that's how they cast him. I don't know.
Probably. Yeah, that's the connection. Family
That's
relation.
A wild accusation.
Yeah, well, we'll throw it out there. We'll see what sticks.
I know there were a lot of people questioning, is he actually that rich? Is he making this up? Apparently, it seems like he is, although I did see some conflicting information online about how he had something to do with the combination of art and bongs. I really don't know much more than that.
Art and bongs? Like head shop?
That was all that he has achieved in his lifetime thus far. That he is part of a long lineage of art dealers, but that his resume is not quite as impressive.
He's more at the head shop sort of avenue there. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not going to knock it.
What about Brittany?
I feel like that would have been a better opener then for him. I feel like
to tell everyone that he's...
His bong story? I feel like that would be more relatable, more approachable.
Do you think he would have ended up matching with Brittany if that had been the case?
Well, I mean, he did match with Brittany eventually this season.
But do you think that the bong would have added or taken away from the authenticity of their relationship?
If Brittany knew how many dollar signs were behind those bongs, I think she could get into it. And I'm not going to trust his financial situation until we see a Hammer financial score. I think that's what I'm going to have to deem everybody's financial status on.
So this was like the most ironic part of the entire thing, was that Leo was so paranoid about coming into this experiment and finding somebody who only wanted him for his money. But then he picked the one person who came into the pods talking about their history of dating athletes and rock stars and people who had accumulated quite a bit of wealth.
Expensive to date, too, I think was the label that she kept using for herself. It was doomed from the start. So then for them to not even get the invite to Cabo was very interesting as well. But I feel like that's the biggest shame. Like, that was the huge flaw in production this season. You would have to know by watching this relationship develop that they're not going to get married. Clearly, we know they're not getting to the altar, but we need to watch this fall apart as it's happening. So I feel like that was the real missed opportunity, was maybe don't invite them to Cabo, but send them somewhere, anywhere else, wherever you'd like to go.
Anywhere with cameras.
I'm going to send some cameras there and make sure that we film it.
They tried to explain it away at the reunion that they're just so serious about making a show where people fall in love that they cut them from going to Cabo because they didn't see that it was realistic they would walk down the aisle. I think the truth of it is they didn't have the budget for 7 weddings.
Well, they should have known that they weren't going to need to pay for 7 by the end of it. I think they would have been surprised.
Come on, though. We got the details because they did go on a trip together, even though they didn't end up going with the rest of the couples to Cabo. And on this trip, they decided that they were better suited as friends and not romantic interests, which I think we all kind of saw coming from how the reveal went.
Yeah, the reveal was awkward, very strange to see these two people pretending to be human around each other for the first time. It was very strange. But then Brittany's litmus test for any relationship was a vacation, and they did not survive that, as Leo kept trying to take sips of her drinks, even if they ordered the same thing, because this probably bothered her, and she didn't say anything. And so then the next time they would go to have drinks, she just ordered whatever he ordered to test it out to see. But no, he was still sipping off of her drink. He was baby birding off of whatever she was ordering.
So he's not just trying to experiment with something different than what he ordered.
Yeah, I feel like that was probably her thought process of, okay, let's take that off the table and see if this is still something that needs to be addressed. And clearly it was.
That is a very forward thing to do when you've just met someone. Just to reach across the table and take a sip of their drink and put it back down.
Joey doesn't share food, and that is grounds for anything that you need to end this relationship immediately. I don't think I could be friends with anyone who's doing that, who's just grabbing stuff from my plate or from my drink. I don't think I can support that.
An invasion of your personal space.
Yeah, that's not going to do it for me.
They did address the fact that he was very close to not picking Brittany.
Well, yeah, he was leaning towards Hannah. He was bending over backwards, trying to get, he was bending over forwards.
He was twisting himself into a pretzel on top of a pillow.
Throwing himself around the room in the pod.
Okay. That is another crime. How did they not show the footage of him rolling around on the floor? Because the best part of it is realizing that these women had no idea what was going on the other side of the wall.
Oh, they've all seen it now.
Now they have, yeah.
And I feel like Leo has watched the footage more than anyone else has. I feel like he is half the views on Netflix right now for season 7.
What did you think of his pasta or steak comparison? That picking between them was such a hard decision.
That felt like an analogy that Steven, I would have expected to have him come up with.
It really hit home for me, I got to tell you. As a person who experiences an immense amount of anxiety when it's time to order at a restaurant, I knew exactly what he was trying to describe.
This was way too stereotypical, though. He's leaning into all the negative stereotypes. We can't support this.
Imagine relying on a dozen different software programs to run your business, none of which are connected, and each one more expensive and more complicated than the last. It can be pretty stressful. Now, imagine Odoo. Odoo has all the programs you'll ever need, and they're all connected on one platform. Doesn't Odoo sound amazing? Let Odoo harmonize your business with simple, efficient software that can handle everything for a fraction of the price. Sign up today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
What do you want to say about the looks? Anything? Because we're going to talk about it for every couple. I think I realized that I'm officially old. I've reached middle age because I did not understand a lot of the fashions going on. But TikTok loved them.
A lot of the dresses seem like cleavage when I was growing up. It used to be a top-down sort of system. But now it seems like we're starting at the middle and we're working our way up. It's the underboob is what we're getting hit with.
There was a lot of it. I would say Britney was serving just a lot of boob in general.
She was like oiled up though.
It was giving Pamela Anderson.
Was it bronzer that was on there?
There was quite a bit of baby oil and bronzer, I'm pretty sure. They were very sculpted.
Yeah, and she wasn't in Cabo, but I would like to see how many rounds of the pressure washer it took to clear off the couch after she got up.
Like a Housewives reunion?
Like a Housewives reunion. Behind the scenes.
Well, who do you want to talk about next? Should we, you mentioned Steven. Should we venture on to Steven and Monica?
Oh, Steven and Monica. I think Steven had a look. No socks.
Okay.
But he's got his
whitest ankles I have ever seen.
But he's got his Malcolm X glasses on.
I don't know. He came into this reunion knowing that he had to save face.
He was behind the 8 ball. Let's put it that way.
He was doing a lot of 8 balls during filming.
He was behind the 8 ball. The 8 ball was in him, around him.
A lot of questions about Steven. Let's just start there.
Why didn't we do a breathalyzer at the sleep study? Because I love how we had to call into question the sleep study. Sleep
Let's
apnea.
catch everyone up on that.
Oh, well, okay.
So the demise of Monica and Steven's relationship was that he did something that he warned her he may do in this relationship, which is cheat on her, because he has done it in the past. He was very upfront about that in the pods, and he's a really good, is he a good talker? He is a talker.
He's a quantity, no, he's a quantity,
not quality.
Not quality. Sort of talker. Bullshitter.
Now, Monica didn't look at that as a red flag because she saw honesty in Steven, which was an improvement from men that she's dated in the past.
Normally, people would cheat on her and wouldn't even have the decency to admit it. So she was more enthralled with Steven in his honesty and being upfront. Anytime somebody says there is no lock screen on my phone because if I'm doing anything wrong, you should catch me doing it. It's not great. That's probably not a good take to have.
I think that their relationship already had started to crumble pretty much immediately after they met one another. They didn't see eye to eye on designer handbags.
Right,
We have the conversation of never buy me a Kate Spade bag. I'm going to need something
Well, he was thinking
a
that
bit more luxury than that.
Yeah, he was thinking that Kate Spade was designer, luxury, top of the line.
The best of the best.
Yeah. And that wasn't really aligning with
Not
the
for
expectations for Monica.
The flowers.
Flowers. We talked about flowers for probably 3 days. 4 days of actual on-screen time.
That was kind of where it started. And then it evolved to the sleep study night.
So at the sleep study, there was the text exchange that Monica became aware of, and clearly there was some kinky stuff, some fetish stuff that was swirling about. I just don't understand how she was saying he got drunk at a sleep study.
No, that was his initial excuse.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, is like that was the story that he was presenting. I don't know if I'm pretty sure. I haven't been involved in a lot of sleep studies. I don't think they let you get drunk at a sleep study, is my understanding.
No, he was trying to make an excuse for his behavior.
I think that was a way for him to distance from a stupid decision that he knew he was embarrassed about and that he had been caught now.
I gotta say, his first defense, a lot better than what he went with at the reunion, which was that this woman texted him. It was a normal conversation to start. Then it evolved to something a little kinky. And he almost let this demon get the best of him. But then he didn't. So he was so proud of it that he didn't delete the texts and he kept them. And that's how Monica ended up finding them.
So, I mean, I guess it's the emotional infidelity. It's you're texting someone inappropriate things. You know you shouldn't be having these conversations. He didn't bring it up, or did he? He had told her?
She happened to look at his phone.
Okay.
And
so you got caught. And so that's where now you get to come to the conclusion that you made this big decision for yourself. You made the good call, the right call to not act on these things. But we just talked about some pretty heinous shit for a little while there.
Which we did not get the details on.
We didn't. And that's the real crime here. Again, also, I'm not taking Steven at his word. So when we're seeing that photo of him at the sleep apnea study, I'm almost inclined to just believe that he hooked himself up to all this stuff and just had all these cables and wires and tape that he staged.
It's that meme where you're using your earbuds, the wires to the earbuds to act like you're in the hospital. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, well, it sounds like something that Whitney would do from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And do a dancing TikTok in front of it. He's breathing a lot better now, guys. But that was my first thought when they brought that picture up. I said, this seems off because there wasn't a lot going on in the background. It was just kind of a nondescript pillow behind him.
Did you expect more like machinery?
I need to see some hard machinery that's happening behind there. Some hard calculations, some hard data.
Some doctors. Nurses.
Something. Yeah, somebody else in the room.
Hospital staff.
Present. Some staff who can sign off on this.
I like that you assumed it was a sleep apnea study.
I think he said that he has sleep apnea.
Oh, does that explain why the pupils were 2 different sizes for a lot of the season?
Yeah, I don't think it fully explains.
There was someone who said it could have been the lights. Now, you have experience with lighting.
I think I had said that.
Oh, I got that info from you?
Yeah.
Never mind.
A lot of people think it's cocaine. That is what it really comes down to, if we're going to be completely honest.
I'm so glad we didn't have to watch more of them, really, because I couldn't hear about the flowers anymore.
Their arguments aren't even entertaining either, because now you have given Monica the high ground in this argument. And
you're not helping it by saying I had a moment of weakness.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like she is completely valid in everything that she says. And so she's going to take that and she's going to wring that chamois forever. Like, she's just that type of person where once she gets something over you, she's going to lord that over you.
Well, that's kind of her contribution from this season of the show, which was asking him to Venmo her on his way out.
Yeah, and it felt like it's those petty things. And sometimes the petty can be entertaining, but I feel like even her stuff is not entertaining.
I wanted to know how much he had to Venmo her.
Yeah, let's bring up the receipts. Yeah, transaction history for that. Let's take a look.
Can you write me an expense report and then I will respond to your Venmo within the next 30 days.
Odoo is business management made so simple, a kid could explain it.
Sometimes business software can't talk to other programs. But Odoo, funny word, has every program from CRM to HR to accounting in one platform. It should cost a lot, but it doesn't. So you should use Odoo because they save you money.
Odoo makes a lot of sense, but doesn't cost a lot of sense. Sign up now at odoo.com.
That's ODOO.com.
Good job.
Thanks.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
Where do we go from here? Who would you like to talk about next?
We could do Garrett and Taylor.
Sure,
because
let's
that's
cross
easy peasy.
them off the freaking list.
Easy peasy.
All right, obviously, the most boring couple, maybe the most normal couple that we had on this cast.
They had some moments during the season. At the reunion, it was very typical response sort of things and just moving along. They're very communicative and considerate of each other and all of that boring shit that's terrible for television. Good for them. Great. But I mean, it's boring TV.
I do think we have to start with the fact that it is pretty insane that in the pods, they had that whole interaction where Garrett was seemingly terrified of her being afraid to reveal her ethnicity to him.
Never
And
addressed that again.
I feel like a lot of people kind of forgot that happened because in the grand scheme of things, these two ended up having the most normal relationship of everyone.
They had the blow up fight where it was Garrett texting the ex who had reached out to him. And that was a whole complicated issue because then he wasn't being completely forthcoming with all of the information. Taylor kind of found stuff out.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it was kind of a rocky situation.
So partway through the season, they have this whole text thing that goes down. An ex-girlfriend who I guess occasionally talks to him sent him a text. And he claimed he didn't know how to respond, so he just liked her text.
Which is weird.
Which was weird enough. That's the first thing he tells Taylor. Later on, when they're with the rest of the cast, he ends up telling some of the other... Who were they with? Do you remember?
I think it was Tyler and Ashley at the table with them.
He reveals more, which is that he actually responded. And this is after Taylor has already been very upset with him, finding out about the whole situation.
And asking repeatedly, please tell me everything that happened about it, so that way we're upfront, we're on the same page, and we can move forward from this. And he continued to tell her he did not respond. There was no further communication. It was just the reaction to the text that was sent, and that was it. But then he slips up in conversation. He's explaining that, yes, there was a response that was sent, and there was communication from that.
I thought that what he said back to her made it sound better. Like, he did respond to her and say, I met somebody. I'm not interested in talking to you anymore. I don't know why you wouldn't have led with that when you initially told her.
Yeah, like it doesn't feel appropriate to have this sort of conversation. We don't know what it was. It probably wasn't as spicy as Steven's
I don't think Garrett gets that.
I don't think so. Yeah, it's about what fish she caught or something more recently, and she's asking him to identify it for her.
Deep sea fishing.
So, yeah, deep diving here. And so I feel like that was probably the bigger part of it, is that Taylor's still finding things out while they're talking about this more. And she was already asking him to be upfront and honest and come clean about the whole situation. So that was where the biggest rift that came up in their relationship.
They pretty quickly got over that. And then I felt like the show was really grasping to come up with some type of conflict for them, where then they leaned into their parents.
And it was the moving storyline then, because they're based in Washington, D.C., she is planning to move to San Diego, which is at the complete opposite end of the country. So it would be a big shift, to say the least, for Garrett in that moment, which we do find out in the reunion too, was that was the plan. That was what they were doing. And then they've kind of had to reevaluate that, since that's been a hard adjustment for Garrett.
So they're moving all the way from Fredericksburg to Washington, D.C., which I imagine is a very short car ride.
Well, closer than San Diego, for sure.
For sure. I think the most interesting part of their season was meeting his mother, who resembles Steven Tyler.
Very much so, yeah. I'm the one that jaded you.
She seemed very unsure about them until they talked about having science tattoos.
Yeah. And then it was like it was meant to be.
Their parents were also married on the 13th. That's their anniversary.
That was weird.
And then they got married on the 13th.
Both of their parents
Yes.
had been married on 13th, and then they got married on a 13th. So that was strange. Good luck, though. Good luck, babe.
The wedding dress, I think we have to talk about it because we spent a lot of time trying to figure out what was going on there.
Yeah, because I mean, I wasn't even a huge fan of the trying on.
It was a very simple dress. The most interesting thing about it was probably the sleeves being, I don't know, they're like a little droopy.
Droopy? Droopy sleeves? And I don't think that's
I don't have all the bridal fashion terms.
I don't think that's an adjective you want to use for a wedding dress.
Well, you know what? Oops. I'm getting very
I know, yeah, you're
up over
punching the
here.
mic over there. Good Lord.
You know what? The dress, it looked much better before they altered it into what she made it into.
She turned it into a mullet dress.
Yes, it was a short, although I don't know, it was like a short dress.
Uh-huh.
But then there was a long piece over the back of the dress.
Which makes it like mullet in the sense of hair, but I guess for a dress, it's kind of like a reverse mullet because it is business in the back and then party in the front.
Yeah.
Because the front is shorter
It's
from
true.
a dress perspective.
Technicality
But
there.
from a mullet perspective, though, the business is in the front and then the party is in the back.
I did not love what she did to it. I know that everyone's talking about her fashion sense. Maybe I'm just not understanding the latest bridal trends.
I'll tell you, it was the best dress that she tried on of the three. Was there
I don't
three?
remember the others.
The other ones were so bad.
There usually is 3.
They were really, really bad. Well, that's on Say Yes to the Dress. So they
That's
showed
on
us 3.
everything. That's about as much as they think the audience can mentally handle.
It's all I can mentally handle, so I appreciate that.
The only other thing I can really think to say about them at the reunion was we need to stop giving jokes to the writers of this show because everyone was talking about the very obvious glow up that Garrett has had since they filmed this show last year. And there was a lot of speculation that it was because he and Taylor were obviously still together and she has greatly impacted his fashion sense. So there was a joke on TikTok about it being Taylor's version, which Nick Lachey proudly announced as though it was original material, the top of the show.
Between that and then, naming off a bunch of Taylor Swift songs as part of his questions that were going out to Garrett. So there were a couple of considerations there, I suppose. The writers were not on strike this season.
I don't know. I think ChatGPT may have written a lot of the material.
Let's be clear.
Ooh, I think I'm going to go to Nick and Hannah.
Okay.
Or do we need to talk about Ramses and Marissa before we go to Nick and Hannah?
I mean, those are both pretty good shit shows that we could probably get into. I feel like I'm a little bit more heated about Nick and Hannah.
All right. Well, let's do them and then we'll do Ramses and Marissa. Be sure to head over and subscribe to Surviving Reality to listen to the rest of the episode, our recaps of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and more bonus content.
How did you actually sleep last night? If it didn't feel like your very best rest, then you need to upgrade to the softest, most luxurious bedding from Boll & Branch. Their signature sheets are made from the finest 100% organic cotton and get softer with every wash. Millions of sleepers love their sheets, and right now, you can feel the difference for yourself during their biggest sales of the entire year. Hurry to bowlandbranch.com to shop their best offers. Limited time only. Exclusions apply. See site for details.